Hey everybody, welcome to Fit Faith Freedom podcast. I have Meg Langston on the call today. You guys might know her as Meg Lynch, aka my best friend, aka just started her own nutrition business called Boundless Nutrition. Meg, thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me.
And also what we can't see is that you're super pregnant, about to have a baby right now.
I'm hoping, and at least, not on the call, but soon, yeah.
Okay, maybe wait till after the call. Well, thank you for being on. I'm so excited because this has been a vision of ours for so long. We have been on this journey together in life for about the past 9 or 10 years. We've known each other. So just introduce yourself to the audience. Let everybody know kind of briefly where you came from and then where you are now in business and in life.
Yeah, well, currently I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. We are always near each other, but two different states. Been here for 4 years. But I recently and I have been in sales for, most of my adult career. And about 6 months ago was laid off. So am now, I'm sorry, it was 3 or 4 months ago. And now I am pursuing nutrition and as a full-time career. And like you said, I'm almost 9.5 months pregnant. Waiting for our little boy to come any minute. And if I'm not doing nutrition, I am putzing around the nursery. So it's kind of what I've been up to.
That is so awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that with me. And I want to kind of dive in because you kind of said it real nonchalantly. You were 5 or 6 months pregnant when you got laid off?
Yeah, 6 months pregnant.
Okay. So talk to me about that time in your life, because it's fairly recent, on how faith played a role in your life whenever all of this stuff was going down.
Yeah, well, so if you really know me, you know that I have had just a mindset around money that is very scarce thinking. And I try to be as thoughtful as possible and control as much as I can with career and with money. And so therefore I always pursued jobs that I thought would be able to give me a 401k or that had good benefits, that were a little bit secure. So I was in a really great job. I was a Southeast rep for a company that sold healthy foods. And I really enjoyed my job. It was fine. I couldn't say I loved it, but I made pretty decent money. And we were in a position where my husband and I were both working. We were paying off debt. We were paying off bills. And we were kind of in this momentum of moving forward and making things happen financially, even though I wasn't tremendously happy. And yeah, out of nowhere, I thought I was getting called into a meeting. I had all my notes. And I was laid off due to budgets. And I can tell you my first reaction was not good. I was very scared. And obviously being 6 months pregnant, I carried actually the insurance for our family. And at the time we really used my money to kind of get us ahead of just, paying off things and saving for a house. So everything that I had thought and had planned for as far as, okay, we're going to be able to get the house done by this time. Our cars will officially be paid off here. I'm going to be doing labor and delivery here with my insurance paid off this time, was completely just obviously changed abruptly, which was really hard and scary. And so you asked me where my faith was and what it is now. Is it took a really long time and kind of diving into my community, talking to friends, obviously like you. I have a mentor that I speak with often, and I think mentors are just massive. If you don't have one, you need a mentor, whether that's in business or spiritually. But relationship, we have, my husband and I always have a mentor couple that we talk to as well. And I really took time to feel the emotions, get upset, cry, be scared, and then ask myself, what is it that I really want to do? And I think if you know me, I've always pursued some kind of fitness, nutrition goals. And it just seemed right to start stepping into that. And it kind of all fell into place.
Mm. That is so amazing the way you shared that story, because it's still fresh, right? Like it's actually like 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And you went through the process, but like you actually did make a complete 180. And what I love about you too, Meg, is that you do take time to feel the emotions. That's something I've always admired about you. Like you might just be crying one day, but it's so great to feel the emotion, go through it, talk about it, talk it out. And then I feel like you kind of transition through the process more quickly because you did allow the feelings to come through. Do you think that's true?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I wrestled with the Lord. I was upset with the Lord. Everything that I said that we had planned for our future, we were pregnant. We were going to buy the house by this time. I mean, everything was just not happening that way. And we were smart and did Dave Ramsey and did all the things, and it still wasn't happening that way. So I definitely, wasn't able to just move on and keep going. And I don't even think that's necessarily healthy. I think you have to feel everything and get it out and express your fears so that they're addressed and you have the ability to move on.
That's so true. And do you think there's a certain space where you can express those fears that you feel safe? Like what about people that feel like maybe they don't have a safe space to share? What would you suggest, like in finding a mentor or finding a tribe?
Yeah, for me, I will say one of the biggest things that was helpful for me is honestly finding community. You and I talk about that all the time. And it doesn't have to be people that are close to you. People, as in like distance wise, they can be a phone call away. But it's community is one of the biggest things. What I actually did was, and obviously scripture, I think worship music, I think there's also music that I just listen to, like India Ari, like that just like gets me like, oh yeah, okay, I'm moving on. So like all different types of music gets me motivated. But there was a particular time where I was very much wrestling with the Lord, and I was upset. And I went to a women's ministry group, and we went over the story of Hannah and just her reliance on the Lord and her patience, and just knowing that things don't always work out the way that you have it planned, but that there is the ability to keep moving forward and momentum to keep moving forward, even when it hurts. And after kind of attending that and going back and looking at scripture, and even scripture that I was playing, my son, his name is Brady. That's what we're going to be naming him. And I have a life verse for him. It's all of Psalm 145. I asked the Lord for a verse, and he gave me all of Psalm 145. But speaking that over myself and just going back to that too was really, really helpful.
Can you share real quickly the story of Hannah?
Yeah. I mean, she basically was waiting for a baby and had to be honest, like I don't remember every single detail right now, but she was waiting for a child, and it wasn't working out that way for her, and so she had to wait on the Lord and wait and pray and be dependent on him. And she did so with a very grieving heart, but a very hope-filled heart. And that's what I tied to, was that she was grieving, but there was a lot of hope. And hope in scripture means expectation and knowing that things are going to be working out, that they may not be right now, but the expectation is that they are going to, because that's the truth. I mean, there's ups and downs, and it will work out. It just may not work out the way that you planned it initially.
I love that. And I think in the spot, it can feel really hard. Like when you're in the situation, it feels really hard because you don't see like a light at the end of the tunnel. But I'm definitely of the thought of like, when you hit rock bottom is when the transformation takes place, right? Like you really can't go, when you're in that pit, when it feels so dark and so bad, you actually can't go any farther down. The only way to come back out is to come back up. So that there is a light, to look up at the light and to look up and keep that hope. It doesn't mean you need to feel good, right? Like you said, like I wasn't feeling great, but I was having an expectation that at some point something was going to come to me.
Yeah.
Now let's talk real quickly about, because what I'm hearing is kind of like the dichotomy between control and faith. So talk about, because I think as females and like type A personalities in general who are listening to the podcast, we usually want to control things. Like we have it this way, we want to plan it. So talk to me about how you kind of overcome or are still working through that need to control.
Yeah, man, that is an ever-ending battle. Like it is something that in some areas I have really released and surrendered to. In other areas I still struggle. But I can tell you, it is such a weird place to be right now, and I'm only 3 months into this journey. But I'm going to go back to like the story that you and I have talked about. Like, so Cami and I have been friends for like 9+ years. And there was a time where we were living in California, and we often hung out because obviously, and we're cool. And there was a time we were going for a walk one time, and Cami was like, do you want a piece of gum? I have like watermelon or mint. And I literally couldn't make the decision. The decision made me so just anxious, and I struggled making a decision on a piece of gum. And what I recognized is at that time, I was really struggling with disordered eating and body image and not feeling good enough because I didn't have my degree, and therefore I needed to pursue a perfect body or pursue just goals that were athletic because that's what I could at least do. And therefore I would feel a certain way, and that therefore I could control something that at that time I couldn't control, going back to school because I just had too much on my plate. Honestly, school is so hard for me, and I was like, well, at least I can control being perfect at looking aesthetically fit and achieving goals that maybe most people can't. And how that poured out was that I couldn't choose a piece of gum because I was trying to control everything else. I was so lost that I had no clue how to what de-stressed me or anything. And flash forward 9 years, that I have been able to really work out with the Lord. And the biggest way I was able to surrender in that was finding out who my identity was. And my identity wasn't whether I went to school or not and finished a degree. My identity wasn't whether I did Olympic lifting or marathons or triathlons, whether I was 5 pounds overweight or under, or, really, really fit and had visible abs. My identity was that I was chosen and I was called to do something. And that learning more and more and more about the character of the Lord and surrounding myself around people that didn't get confused by that, and eliminating things that did not, that at the time, like if looking on Instagram and I saw somebody that was crazy fit and they were working out all the time, well, I would eliminate that from my eyes and looking up all the time. And I was able to surrender into just like, God, who do you call me to be? Like, what are you calling me to be? And I will say that was a really, really long journey, but it was really finding out my identity in Christ and eliminating things that really hurt me and allowing myself to just flourish in things that I really enjoyed. And, there are times where I still struggle with, I talked about, the first thing I talked about was the money that I had planned, the goals that I had planned for a house. And that is something that I still am, I can still be weak at. And, you and I had been talking about the word courage earlier. And that's just what keeps coming up to my mind. Like, courage, one, you're going to be a mom. Like, hello, like that's got to be a lot of courage. That scares me to death. But also courage to be like, Lord, you've called me into something out of this business of chasing a 401k and into something where you have made me go full circle of when I couldn't choose a piece of gum because I was so obsessed with other things I could control, and that's how it manifested, was not being able to choose a piece of gum. And I was so obsessed with looking a certain way and achieving certain things that now you've literally transformed me and asked me to step into nutrition, but for healing, and surrendering into that, saying like, Lord, that's the courage that I'm trusting you to give. And that doesn't come with a 401k, and that doesn't come with, that comes with being an entrepreneur. I don't have any idea what that is. I don't even have a website yet, you know, but talk about surrender. My surrender and what I'm learning currently is, you know, that God gives you courage and asks you to step into something, and he calls each of us, whether it's from like a really crazy story like mine, or, you know, just something that breaks your heart, but he asks us to, he calls us to an identity in that, and you can chase that as a career. And my surrendering in that is that, Lord, you've called me to it. I know you have. I don't know what it looks like, but my step moving forward is, you know, going to school or taking on clients or whatever, you know, whatever it is.
That is so powerful. And I know you just gave so much just good stuff for people who are in this space. And maybe not everybody is starting a business, right? It's funny because I remember you saying that's something you didn't want to do. You're like, no, I don't want to do that, right? Because you felt like you had control in the other situation.
Yes.
But the truth is we don't ever have control over anything, right? Like it can all be taken away from us. Like God gives and he takes away. So it's really about what lessons can we learn as we're going through it. And usually when we're gripping on tightly to something, that's when it's time to like let it go. When we're so all about it, like that's, I have to have it. And so you mentioned that word surrender, which is basically what you have to do when you feel like you're kind of in, you feel like you want to be in control of everything, is that surrender process. But you also talked about some action steps that people can take too. We talked about tribe and community and reaching into that. So I just want to give people listening, if you do want to find a tribe, you guys can always enter into the Facebook group, which is Fit Faith Freedom. Find it on Facebook. It's free. That's a great tribe. We're doing a cool tribe challenge in there. But secondly,
so awesome.
You said to take your eyes away from things that are not good for you and good for your growth. So the one you mentioned was Instagram. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I think it was, you know, as silly as this is, switching gyms. I was in a gym that was a lot of bodybuilding, and for me, that wasn't good because it again was around aesthetics. So I put myself in a gym that was focused more on performance, and that was awesome because that was just like all about pushing my body and eating a certain way towards getting stronger and not being embarrassed to put on too much muscle or lifting heavier than a guy next to me. Instead, I was just like, I have a goal to squat 245, and that's what I'm going towards. So the gym, but honestly, as crazy it is, really social media, that was, and I think that most people feel that way. I mean, you look on even bloggers or fashion, you know, people, and you as a woman, you can look at their legs, or you can look at their clothes and their purses and their nails and all the things that they have. And sometimes you just need to like not follow them and follow a puppy, you know?
I think that's the best advice. I mean, we could just end the call right here. Stop following them and follow a puppy because it makes you happy.
Yeah, right?
But
like,
honestly,
yeah,
that's so good. Now I'm off track. I think that's so true. Puppies are the best.
They are. They really are. By the way, I have these like random dogs that follow me on Instagram. I don't know what that means. It could be a creeper, but I feel like a little excited about it. I'm like, I'm important now.
Followers.
Yeah.
They've got like a lot of followers, so now you feel super
They
special.
They do. Yeah.
The dogs always have the most. So make sure you're not going down the road of like comparing yourself to the dog, and you're like, this dog has more followers than I do right now.
that could go wrong real fast. Yeah. Even a dog has more followers than me.
Like this dog has a nicer person. Like, because some of these dogs get dressed up and like they got full outfits.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I digress from the dogs.
Puppies.
Yes. So let's transition and shift gears into talking about freedom, because this podcast really is about freedom. And so what would you say now is your definition of freedom?
I think that my definition of freedom is really doing something that you love, enjoying it to the fullest, and being bold in it. I think you're not thinking about what other people are doing. Your freedom is knowing like who you are and being in tune to that and being bold enough to pursue that. And that doesn't have to be a career. That could literally be a triathlon for the first time, or I don't even know, a new wardrobe. I don't know what it is.
Maybe somebody makes like Etsy things, like maybe they do something small, or maybe they really love volunteering at the food pantry. But
I have to tell you, my friend who was a stay-at-home mom started making, she's really good at calligraphy, and on Etsy felt the Lord called her to that, felt stupid doing it, but was like, I'm going to do it. And now she's like in magazines for it. So you're right. I mean, having the freedom to do something that you feel called to do and that you're gifted in, because it doesn't always have to be, your gifts and talents impact others in ways that you may not even think of. If you are doing calligraphy, you may not think that it's impacting people, but your story, your decision to do it, or the words that you're writing. If you have a gift and you have a talent, that is from the Lord, and that is for you to pursue in any capacity, career or just hobby.
That is so true. And some people are like, you're just called to be a mom or a dad or a business leader, like whatever your role is in, you're just called to be in that role. But I think, especially from your example too, before when you were trying to do school was really, really hard for you. And now you're going to NTP school and you're like telling me all these things about biology that honestly I forgot. And I was funny? Like, okay, stop. Like, like now, like it almost is like you received a new, like a supernatural learning ability now compared to what you were before, because you're on the right track, right? Because you stepped into that.
Yeah. And so for NTP, if those who don't know, it's Nutritional Therapy Practitioner School. And that is a fancy word to say that I'm doing really fancy things with nutrition. Just kidding. But kind of like I am stepping in to look at the body as a whole and to assess, and my heart breaks for women. And that is truly what I'm after. I'm after meeting with women, talking all about their periods. I just want to know all the details in that, and helping them regain their confidence and pursue health. And as a result, feel good inside out. But in the nutritional therapy practitioner class that I'm taking, the courses that I'm taking, we're learning all about neurolingual testing and assessing the body, whether you're low progesterone, low estrogen. All the things that I would have, you guys, like if you knew me, like would not even be able, like I don't even know if I can spell those words, to be honest with you, but I can learn it and understand it because I have been given from the Lord this courage to step into something that I would never have pursued if the Lord didn't take away this job. And it is only 3 or 4 months. And that doesn't mean like I'm not ever scared and wake up questioning, but as soon as I do, it's talking to the community. It's putting on worship music. It's surrounding myself and feeding myself just truth after truth after truth, that this is only one life. You can pursue something that you love. You can have failures or flops, and those are so good, and you can learn from them, and you can continue to just move forward. So there, if you don't know who Ashley Horner is, she's like one of the coolest chicks ever, and just a really, really, she's a badass chick. And she has this program called Charlie Mike. But the reason I actually love it is because Charlie Mike in the military means to continue on with mission. And I love that means something so much to me because maybe it's because military is in my family, and obviously you've been impacted by military in your life as well. But it's like, yeah, continue on with your mission. Like you're going to flop and you're going to fail. And that is awesome. And like, who put failure as a bad word? It's not a bad word. It is an awesome word. And Charlie, Mike, continue on with your mission. It's okay if it's not clear, because it can change, and it should change as you grow older. You should transform and be molded and kind of find different directions that you like and don't like. And yeah, that was totally going off on a tangent, but
you know what? It was perfect because you were speaking right to me. I was like, yeah, Meg, because you've known me for so long.
Yeah.
That was like my story, right? Like I got out of college with a degree in molecular cell biology. I'm thinking I'm going in one direction to veterinary school. Turns out I don't want to do that. And then I didn't know what to do. And so for 9 years, I've been like doing this job, doing that job. And finally, in the past 4 years, I've found my passion, but
gosh, I've never seen you so happy.
Right? But there's a lot of questioning, like, am I going on the right path? Should I be pursuing the one that has more money? The one that's more secure? And really, I think whenever you're called into something, you are gifted with the unique talents, abilities, skills, and perseverance to make it happen, right? Like when you wake up with energy every morning because you're excited about your mission, that's pretty cool.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, absolutely.
So and I don't think I've ever asked you this question. You have gone back to like, well, should I pursue something because you make pretty decent money. Mm-hmm. Should I go back to something that pays really high that I can invest in, I can do all these things with? But what has made you continue on with your mission?
This is such a good question. I'm glad you asked.
I'm sorry that I just am like asking you this, but I don't know that genuinely as your friend.
Well, so I had to surrender. So it comes back to your word. I came down to surrender because there's times, especially on an entrepreneurial journey, where you're questioning, like, how am I going to make ends meet? Because you have to have a certain number of clients. And, you said you're running a business without maybe any skills to run a business. So I kind of reached the end of my rope, and I did it a couple times, but like in this past December, I definitely reached the end of my rope where I was like, okay, God, like, is this what you want me to be doing? Because I don't know if I see a trajectory to make this a career path, right? That's kind of how I was with my circumstances. Now, the only thing I can say for sure that I know, like in my heart, is that I feel like I'm dying a little bit inside when I'm not doing this. Like when I'm not doing this work, I do not feel fully alive. And when I am on coaching calls, like
literally have goosebumps.
Yes, like when I'm on coaching calls, I'm fired up. When I'm on live video, like I get pumped up. Like I can feel a whole energy come through my body that I know that this is what I was supposed to be doing. That's the only way I can explain it. And when I try to get control back and go back into like a regular job or be like, well, let me just do this for money, I feel my energy drop. I feel my attitude change. I become like not who I was meant to be. And this is the best version of myself when I'm doing my passion. Yeah.
Wow. That is so awesome. I love that. I mean, and you guys, if you got to see the side of her that's not on the camera, where when she does try to pursue something that is literally not built for her, which is like being in an office or just chasing money, like it is night and day difference. I mean, it is crazy. The smile, the energy that you give off, everything. So, I mean, even more to show like that we really do, like in some capacity, have to give ourselves the freedom to pursue something that fuels us. And it doesn't have to be a career, but you have to have the courage to do it, or else you're not fully alive, like you said.
Yeah.
And I feel like that now, finally. I feel like that now. I mean, for how long have I been obsessed with nutrition, obsessed with like, and then you and we were trying, both of our hearts have always broke for women. Like all we've ever wanted was for women to just be, I mean, fully, just completely, I mean, confident in who they are. And now I feel like, oh my gosh, this is what you wanted me to do. Like you wanted me to sit down and talk about your period and like talk about like, how are you? Like, how are you doing? Like, let's go eat, and it doesn't always have to be, holistic, like bananas and I don't know, broccoli and liver. Although, hey, listen, I love liverwurst. I don't care what you say. And liver has a lot of great properties in it.
You guys, she's always telling me about eating liverwurst, and I'm not on board yet. So
no.
She's got to write a blog post or something.
Please, can anybody comment like on your podcast or anything?
They can comment in the Facebook group. So yeah,
comment in the Facebook group or get on if you have a mailing list, right?
Yeah.
Email Cami and tell them, tell Kimmy how much you love liverwurst, please, because I know I'm not the only one.
That's their call to action. Okay, we'll see how many emails I get.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Before we go, I want to close it down really quick. And you gave so much good stuff, Meg. Like I'm literally sitting here having an out-of-body experience, thinking about us 9 years ago, just like,
I know.
How are we doing this right now?
Walking the lagoon.
Yeah. So I think it's amazing just our growth on where we've come from. But there might be somebody here that's still like in the ditch, in a rut, like having a hard time like we were 9 years ago. So do you have any resources for them? Like, I know you kind of talked about a couple things, but like what is step one? Where can they go? How can they connect? How can they shift their mindset? What are some of the tools that you've used?
Yeah, well, I will say journaling is one thing that's huge. I think when we talked about getting out all your emotions, get out all your emotions in journaling. If you're not somebody that likes to talk about it, or shoot, even if you do like to talk about it, journal about it and journal good things and bad things and go back to it and see how much growth you've had from that. Podcasts, I love different podcasts. I think that for me personally, as weird as this is, I love sports psychology podcasts. There is one in particular, has nothing to do with faith, and it actually, I think, is mostly for high school sports. But
high school, like teenage boys, but it's fine.
Very much high school, like football player boys. Like, it's not for girls at all. I mean, it could be, but I love it because he is very much of the mindset of like Charlie Mike, continue on with mission. And sometimes I need to be like coddled and you know, let me cry and tell me I'm pretty and everything's going to be okay. But other times I need to be told like, it is not a failure is not a bad thing. Move on, like figure out what you want. So it's called I'm Not You Mentality is his website, and it's Ni Shobu. I think it's like NIYI and then Shobo or whatever. Don't ask me that part.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. And then lastly, I guess I am a little bit more of a boy than I thought. I love Navy SEAL books.
Well, and you were the one that connected me to Jocko podcast that I will not stop talking about. And then
the
other one, what's the other one?
Unbeatable Mind.
Unbeatable Mind. Okay. So
great book too.
Yep. So those are some resources. In the morning, anything you do you scripture, do you prayer? How do you get your mindset going in the morning?
I will tell you what. I used to wake up and I used to journal, and I used to always listen to worship music. I haven't been so great about that, and I'm totally fine with it. I'm totally relaxed. What I do always do is give myself a morning before getting my day started, and that just lets me reset. So some people have a really great routine that they're awesome at. I've tried it. It has always helped for me too, but it's okay when it doesn't happen like right now, and I just give myself a cup of coffee and that's it. But when I do get ready, I usually listen to some either really fun music or worship music.
Perfect. And if anybody wants a morning routine podcast, the former episode 11, I go into my morning routine if you guys want that info. Meg, is there anything else you want to leave us with? Where to find you, where to connect with you? And I love that you're on right now, the very beginning of your business, because I know you're the Gail to my Oprah. Like, you're going to be in my life.
Yes.
I was waiting to say that.
I love that you said that. Like, did you look that up? I love it.
I thought of it before the podcast. I was like, I'm definitely going to say this. So you'll be on here again, but I think it'll be a great way to just track like the mindset of like getting into something and then, maybe trying to launch my first product or like going through the hurdles of getting clients. Like, it's pretty cool to see you now. Never wanting to start a business in your life, and yet here you are. Like, God's like, I had other plans for you. So how can people connect to you if they're looking for what you do and they are having some health struggles and they want to talk to you?
Yeah, so I am certified as a nutrition coach now, so I can take on clients. And like I said, I've been working mostly with women that have been struggling to lose weight, and it's usually some kind of hormonal imbalance, irregular periods, digestive issues, things like that. You can find me at Meg_Langston, LANGSTON. And honestly, Instagram right now is the best for me. As you said, I'm just getting started. So I had a meeting today about a website, and at some point, when Little B is here, we will step into that. But I do have a mailing list on my Instagram. It's right under the profile where I am starting to send some information if you're interested on how to regulate your hormones using food.
Perfect. Meg, thank you so much for being on. This was honestly so amazing. Thank you for being on. You gave so much good stuff. I'm so excited to watch your journey and see little B come along and be a little athlete. Just right out the womb. Just running right out there.
Let's hope so. All right. Love you.
All right, love you. Bye.
Bye.